Bodybuilding is a sport that rewards hard work, consistency, and dedication. The path to success in the sport is often a narrow one, full of hardship and rejection. Overcoming these obstacles is what separates the chaff from the champions. It's a lifestyle that forces its athletes to bring their work home with them. Some competitors thrive in these conditions. Others crumble under the pressure and take their anger out on the world around them. Today we will discuss 3 separate cases where bodybuilders cross the line from muscles and glory to homicide and prison. BERTIL Fox was born on January 5th, 1951 on the island of St. Kitts. At 1 year old, Fox's family decided to move to London, England, and later to Northampton, where he spent his formative years. At a young age, it was apparent that BERTIL had tremendous genetic potential and was encouraged by his cousin to compete in bodybuilding. He would go on to win the 1969 Mr. Britain at the ripe old age of 18. BERTIL dominated every major bodybuilding competition outside of the IFBB, ironically earning him the nickname Brutal BERTIL, before turning pro in the late 1970s after winning the IFBB Mr. Universe Amateur Division.
Be inspired. This is Fox, Brutal Fox, and he's badass. You know what I'm saying? Watch it. Enjoy.
From that moment forward, he went on to become a highly esteemed competitor in the sport and stayed active until the late 1990s when he announced his retirement. Fox returned to St. Kitts in 1995, where he planned to open his own gym, a move that would later prove to have deadly consequences. On September 30th, 1997, LaKoya Brown and her mother Violet Brown were found brutally murdered in their family's dress shop. Fox, the ex-fiancé of LaKoya, was arrested and charged with the murders. Fox admitted he shot her in a blind rage after a heated argument. Originally sentenced to death by hanging, the sentence would later be reduced to life in prison. As luck would have it, on August 4th, 2022, for some reason, after 17 long years, BERTIL was pardoned of the murders and now lives as a free man to do as he pleases. A rising amateur bodybuilder, Gordon Kimbrough was known by his family to be a meek and shy fellow. Some would say a gentleman, a description that would be proven otherwise with later actions. Gordon was a highly recognized trainer at World Gym in San Francisco. It would be there that he met his soon-to-be fiancée, Christy Ramsey. Gordon and Ramsey hit it off immediately, going on to win the 1991 USA Pairs title together. According to one of Kimbrough's sisters, Christy and Gordon had a volatile relationship. Both easily agitated and willing to fly off the rails at a moment's notice. Gordon's sister blames the use of anabolics for the transformation that occurred in her brother. With emotions running hot, it wouldn't take long for tragedy to strike. On June 20th, 1993, Ramsey and Kimbrough would have a verbal altercation, resulting in Kimbrough losing control and assaulting his fiancée. Gordon struck Ramsey in the chin before tying an electrical cord around her neck, and well, you know where this is going. Kimbrough was swiftly apprehended and convicted. He is currently serving 25 to life for the first-degree murder of Christy Ramsey. In a seemingly ironic twist of fate, the 1995 issue of Iron Man Mag contained an article titled Murderous Muscle, detailing the actions of Kimbrough, with none other than Craig Titus on the cover. Craig would later go on to commit one of the most infamous murders in the bodybuilding scene. Mark Rodney Jones was an amateur bodybuilder from a town in Tasmania, Australia. Little is really known about Mark. However, he has a criminal record stretching back to July 1998. The then 22-year-old Jones was convicted of S.A.ing a 17-year-old girl in a way that's far too brutal to talk about on YouTube. Fast forward to New Year's Day 2017, Mark and a pal drive up to the apartment of Bradley Breward. Mark believed that Breward had stolen his car and was intending to get information about the location of the vehicle by any means necessary, even if that meant violence. After hours of horrendous interrogation, Mr. Brewer still hadn't offered up any information, likely due to the fact that he had nothing to do with the theft. After a series of attacks, Mr. Brewer lost consciousness and tragically died shortly after. It wasn't long before the police apprehended Jones and charged him with manslaughter. Jones was convicted and sentenced to 22 years in prison, where at the time of this recording, he's still rotting. Marvin Gray was born on August 7, 1954, in Princeton, Kentucky. At an early age, Marvin suffered from severe anxiety, which would cause heart-wrenching panic attacks. It's unclear if his family ever took him to seek professional help for the attacks, but whatever the case, Marvin would spend several years taking drugs that contained methamphetamines. Oddly enough, Marvin's panic attacks would subside after the passing of his father in 1965. It would seem that the newfound freedom acquired from the sudden death of his father would send Marvin into a downward spiral, with his grades and his demeanor changing drastically for the worse. It wouldn't be long before Marvin had his first arrest at the age of 12. Convicted for breaking and entering and theft, he was sent to a juvenile institution. This would prove to be detrimental to Marvin's psychological state. According to Gray, the stronger kids at the institution dominated the place, oftentimes subjecting the weaker kids to unspeakable acts of cruelty and humiliation. This is where Gray would adopt his unsavory vision of the world around him, cultivating rage, hatred, and indifference. Marvin had fully surrendered to the destructive impulses within himself. Upon being released in 1968, Gray would immediately embark on his lifelong criminal career. Marvin would go on to commit several robberies before landing himself in jail once again. It would be this stint in prison where Gray would discover powerlifting. Marvin would go on to make impressive gains while incarcerated before finally being released in 1975. After bouncing in and out of jail for a series of thefts, suspected murders, and parole violations, Marvin would eventually land himself life in prison. Marvin was sentenced in Colorado in 1992 and would never see freedom again. Having nothing else to do with his time besides casual, violent outbursts, Gray would dedicate himself to powerlifting, attaining a 500-pound bench press, an 800-pound squat, and a 650-pound deadlift. This, of course, would give Marvin a substantial physical advantage over the other inmates, which he would gladly use at the drop of a dime. While serving life, Marvin would unalive 2 inmates, one of them being his cellmate, before confessing to a series of homicides he had never even been suspected of. He would go on to confess to 31 homicides. However, upon taking a polygraph test, the truthfulness of his confessions only lined up with about 18 of the murders. It's hard to truly know the depths of Marvin's depravity and how many were sadly victims to it. What is known is that Gray served the last remaining years of his life in solitary confinement, deprived of any social interaction, including powerlifting, likely having damaging effects on his already shattered psyche. Marvin never competed in another state penitentiary powerlifting meet and would die on July 19, 2013, of heart failure. Well, that's all I got for this video. It's rare and even sometimes hard to believe, but it serves as a reminder that no matter how strong or successful someone might look, there's always the possibility that the face they wear in public is not who they are behind closed doors. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon for more fitness-related content. I'll probably in the future be talking about other individuals, not just fitness-related, but people of interest, might I say. Just all-around interesting individuals who have been on the internet and left some sort of legacy, whether it be good or bad. But I do intend on creating more videos, so this one will serve as the first of many, hopefully. Peace.